Yo, this will talk E. Welcome to the locker room. We'll talk nothing but basketball. Now, I apologize for the late video, but I know y'all saw the Celtics and Heat game, and I know everybody's excited now. This is finally a series. The Celtics finally pushed the Heat team to make this a series. What was supposed to be a sweep by Miami, which is an eighth seed and a play-in team at that, and now it has become a real series. Now the Celtics have to win Game 6, which is a task that I don't think is impossible for the Celtics to do. Why? Because they've done this before. I mean, if you look at just the last series when they played against the Sixers, they came back and they had to win 6 and 7 in order for them to get to the conference finals. And Game 6 was in Philly, and they did so. So, in my opinion, as long as that they gave themselves a chance to make this a 6 game series, they have a chance to make it a 7. And if the Celtics go to 7, I wouldn't put it past them to win. But I would say that it will take a lot of energy out of the Celtics. So even if they win and get past this round and be the first ever team to pull a 3-0 comeback, I don't know if they'll get past the Nuggets in the finals. I don't think any one of these two teams are gonna get past the Nuggets in the finals. Why? Because you look at both sides, they're both gonna be tired, and you look at the Heat. Injuries are starting to catch up with them, especially now that the Celtics are pushing them to extend the series. Gabe Vincent injured his foot. A couple of guys have injured themselves, but the Celtics are not safe neither. They're also facing injuries too. Malcolm Brogdon, he tore some type of muscle in his forearm, and ever since then he has not been playing the same. He's been having like 0 point games. His minutes have went down a lot. I mean, he went from having 37 minutes of play time, I believe, in game one to like having, I believe, like 16 or 10 in a game five. And let's get into the actual game. To start off the game, and the biggest reason why I think the Celtics won this game is not because, you know, everybody's making their shots. It's not because it's at home. It's not because they have Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. It's not because they have, a great team. No. It's really, in my opinion, because Jason Tatum came out very aggressive. He came out scoring, attacking the basket. He came out getting layups, and then his threes started falling. He had like, I think it was two threes. He got a mean dunk in the first quarter, and all of that came back to help them because it not only helped him find his rhythm scoring wise, but it also helped them start setting their defense. It helped them get momentum. It helped them start off the game with confidence, positivity, and just the energy to fight. And I don't think the Heat were ready for that. I don't think the Heat were ready to come out here and really fight for real. I think the Heat thought, okay, we gave up one, we'll win the next one. And I think that they were convinced that they were going to win this game, and they kind of like underestimated that the Celtics fight. How much heart they have because of I think it was game 3 where the Celtics just gave up. And I think because of that, the Heat kind of let their guard down the last 2 games. And I'm not gonna say that was 100% why they lost, because obviously, Celtics defense, we have to give it credit, and the Celtics did turn up the way that they play, and they stood, their ground. They're starting to make their shots, and they're making way better plays, and they're driving, kicking out, which is so simple. It's like textbook basketball. Everybody does it. Every team does it. But now that the Celtics are like starting to abuse it more, it has clearly come back to help them because your shooters are in rhythm. And especially when you have somebody like Jason Tatum going off in the first quarter and getting 12 points, it helps a lot. And I think Derek White also had 11 points in the first quarter, hit like 3 or 4 threes in that first quarter. I think for the game he went 5 for 7 or 6 for 8 from three. This whole series he's been the only consistent player shooting wise on the Celtics team, the only one. And yesterday he came out, like I said, 11 points in the first quarter. Second quarter, this was the Jalen Brown quarter. This is when Jalen Brown scored, I think it was like 12 of his 15 points in the first half. What came in this second quarter, and not only did it help Jason Tatum, which also allowed him to rest a little bit and be able to focus on defense and just read the game and stuff like that. But it put pressure on the Heat to have to guard Jaylen Brown now, because now you can't double team Jason Tatum, because now Jaylen Brown got it going, and we know Jaylen Brown, he could put up 40 if you allow him to. He could put up 40 if you don't allow him to. So now they can't just double team Tatum. And then you got Marcus Smart, Derek White starting to knock down their threes. They end the game with 24 and 23 respectively, both of those two guys. And honestly, in the second quarter, this is where the Celtics ran away with it, right? And I know everybody's gonna look at the first quarter and be like, what do you mean? They already ran with it in the first quarter. Here's the thing. First quarter, no matter how big of a lead you have in the first quarter, is always gonna go away. Okay? That 36-point first quarter to 20 points from the Heat, which is, by the way, insane. If I'm the Heat, I am not allowing more than a 30-point quarter. 31 point in a quarter max. And that's like maybe just the first quarter. They're not playing hard enough. They're not playing with the same hunger that they had in the first 3 games. Jimmy Butler has been a no-show these last 2 games. I know everybody's looking at game 5, oh, he had 29 points. Yeah, but the first half, he basically did nothing. Most of those 29 points came in the third quarter of game 4, I think it was. Yes. So the last 2 games, he's been a no-show. And the Celtics, they got a whole bunch of steals. They forced 16 turnovers. The Heat's first offensive rebound putback, points came in the fourth quarter by Kevin Love. That was their first putback that made it. The Celtics beat them on the glass. They out-rebounded them. They play harder than them. They play bigger than them. They play with more heart than them. They play with more hunger than them. And with all that being said, we get to the third quarter, and honestly, this is where I start to get scared for the Celtics, because the Celtics have this really, really bad habit of just trying to run down the clock. Now, running down the clock can be a thing that helps you, but it also can be a thing that hurts you. Why? Because Bam Adebayo got going in that third quarter, right? In my opinion, I was thinking it's only a matter of time before the rest of the Heat get going, and they did, right? But the Heat couldn't get stops, which I believe really helped out the Celtics. Why? I think the Celtics are really starting to figure out, which is kind of sad I'm saying this to begin with, but I think they're starting to figure out how to play and score on the Heat's zone. The zone defense by the Heat was messing the Celtics up. But I think now they're starting to figure it out. They know what they're doing. I mean, in game 5, there was a lot of times where, they got it inside, kick out, Smart, Derek White hit a 3, or Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum would just get to the basket. Which is, you would think that's very simple, and every team should know how to do that. I mean, the zone defense is used, I believe, even in high school. So you would think that in the NBA, as a pro, you should know how to, score on that, how to break that down. But it does complicate a lot of teams. And surprisingly, a lot of teams run it now. And for this Celtics team, in game 5, they were taking advantage of that. The zone was not affecting them in any type of way, shape, or form anymore. And when we got to that third quarter, they kept trying to run zone. It was not helping. Jimmy Butler picked up a couple of fouls. He ends the game with 14 points, which is very shocking to me, because 14 points from Jimmy Butler, somebody's been going off this entire playoff run and has been unstoppable and has not been able to be guarded by anybody, any single soul in this playoffs, is insane. Insane. Especially if you're a leader of this Heat team that's trying to make it to the finals. They're going to need you. And when I say they're going to need you, they're not going to need you for 14 points. They're going to need you to put up 30 points, play defense, play both sides of the court. And he might be tired. But that's not an excuse. You need to show up. As a leader of this team, You need to show up, especially that you're undermanned. All three of your best guards are down. You have to show up now. This is when your team needs you the most. Bam Adebayo, you can't just show up in the third quarter and the first quarter. No, you got to show up all game. If the Heat want to win, those two guys have to show up all game long. You can't let the Celtics outplay you. And if the Celtics want to push this to 7, they have to keep playing the way that they're playing. They have to understand that the Heat are going to come back harder right now. They are not going to allow the Celtics to just bully them and, take one more win at Miami. The Celtics need to come in and understand that it's win or go home. Like, leave everything on the court. Everything. This is like a game 7 before the game 7. All right? So leave everything on the court. Win, lose, or draw. Leave everything on the court. Play hard. Play together. Play with confidence. Jason Tatum. There's no such thing as going the quarter without taking a shot. I don't care if you brick it. Jaylen Brown. There's no such thing as going the quarter without taking a shot. Don't rush your shots. Understand what you're doing. All those stupid turnovers, doing too much with the ball, mishandling the ball, making dumb passes. No, that gotta go. You gotta eliminate that. That's the only way it's gonna happen. Now, can the Celtics actually make a 3-0 comeback? I don't know. But I would say they have the talent to do so. They have the personnel to do so. They have the hunger to do so. And they have given themselves a chance to do so. They just need to execute, be patient, go game by game, and don't get ahead of yourself. You have 2 games left. It's very easy to overlook and let human nature just, take over your mind and, just jump forward into looking into the finals when, you still have 2 more games to finish here. Especially if you win game 6, human nature is going to really try to kick in and be like, oh, you're going back home for game 7. This is going to be easy. No. None of this is going to be easy. None of it. You have to show up. But anyways, y'all, it's enough of me rambling in chat. It's time for y'all to let me know. Chatting down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is Real Talk with E. And it's time to leave the locker room. I'm going to catch y'all. Safety, my hearts.
Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
The officials have to review it. And the Lakers win the game. Banks it in. He banks in the 3 to win it. Good.
That's why he's NBA All-Defensive Team. Adebayo, sky high with the block and rejection.
This is for the win. Got it. Wow.
At 7, working against Butler, got down.